The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
Country music singer, songwriter Star Jackson has some incredible new music out, and the latest song, Star, we're going to talk about. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, you know, you've got You Do You,
Yes.
and I was listening to this, and it seems like you're having a lot of fun with these singles you're putting out.
Yes.
Because you came out with High Horse last year that's done very well, but You Do You is really, it seems like you're kind of spreading your wings with this one.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I mean, I think You Do You comes from a place of standing in your own authenticity, you know, and so it's been my freedom anthem.
It seems like it's going to be that way for a lot of people, because I know that the video has been out there also. You've got, what do they call that, the fancy music video?
Oh, well, it's not fancy. It's far from fancy. It's a visualizer.
Thank you, visualizer.
Yes.
See? And it's like, but I know you've got that out there as well. And it seems like you're having a great time. You've only been here in Nashville since 2023, but it's been a pretty good ride so far. You know, you're with Virgin Records. You're putting out singles. I know there's going to be more singles coming out this summer, right?
Yes, we got some more. The one coming this summer is going to be like a two-step in line dancing song, so I'm super excited about that one.
Well then, how have you enjoyed also like doing the co-writes here in Nashville?
I love it. I mean, I never really imagined myself loving writing so much, but it's become like my favorite part of this journey, you know.
Well, and you've been writing with some good ones. We were talking about like Bridget Tatum and with
Yeah,
Corey.
Bridget's awesome. Corey Barker. I've written some with Pete Salas. They're all going to be on the record. And then I have an Australian friend, and her name's Tamara Stewart. Me and her wrote some really good ones too. So I'm excited.
And you got a great producer also.
Yes, Kent Wells. He's awesome. He's kind of took me under his wing, showed me, you know, how things work, and he's really helped me to create the sound that I was aiming for.
Well, and I think you've achieved it. We were talking about a Star to where, you know, you've got that traditional sound, you know, with your voice, with the you know, the way you phrase words and the way you sing, but then also you kind of got some of the rock and guitar and everything underneath. It kind of merges it all.
That's because growing up, my mama would blare either Motley Crue or Def Leppard on the way to school, or Nickelback.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, I'm strongly influenced by 80s rock. I love 80s rock. And so it's awesome to hear you say that, like, I have a traditional sound mixed with that rock and roll, because I love me some rock and roll.
It's a lot of fun to listen to. And I got to ask you the question, how did you come up with the name Star?
Oh, I did not. I did not come up with that name. I would never have called myself Star.
Now, you got to tell the story, though.
Yeah. So my producer, Kent, he has worked with Dolly Parton, the Dolly Parton, for quite a while now. And he had told me several times that he could introduce me to her. And one day he's like, we're in the studio tomorrow. Do you want to come meet her? And I'm like, yeah, I want to come meet her. And so I go. It's that Starstruck studio. You know, my producer's telling me how this was Reba's studio, and I'm just learning all the history. And then I get to meet Dolly, and we're talking, and she asked me, you know, where I was from, and kind of what my plan was for my album and for my singles. And we just got to talking, and I mentioned, like, right before I got there that morning, I was on the phone with my mentor, and he had told me, he was like, you really need to be thinking about what you want your artist name to be, because there's already a Hannah Jackson on all of the platforms, a musician, and she's from Texas, and a mama, a singer, blonde. So he didn't want me to get confused with someone else.
Something to differentiate you.
Right. And so when I was talking with Dolly about my plan and all, and I was like, well, I'm trying to figure out what I want my name to be, because I was pretty cool with Hannah, you know. And we were like in mid-conversation, and I was telling her I grew up in Star, Mississippi. And she was like, wait, that's your name? She was like, your name is Star. And I'm like, did Dolly Parton just name me Star?
That's like destiny.
It was crazy. Like, I think I choked up and I just stared at her like, are you serious? Like, I'll take that. Okay, you know, I will happily accept that. And so anyways, she looked at me like very seriously as she was writing in a book that she had autographed for me. And she was like, Star. She was like, Star. Wow. She was like, are you okay with that? And I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And so anyways, that's kind of how I got my name, and it's such an honor. And yeah, Dolly named me.
What a story.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, and I wanted to bring up also, you and I were talking before we came in studio that you really got your start, you know, singing in church. You know, as a young child, you've been singing all your life, and then you kind of moved into the songwriting from journaling.
Yes, it's wild, I know. Yeah, so
I think it's great.
Yeah. Very organically is how the songwriting began, for sure. But yeah, I grew up in Church of Christ. My papa was a preacher. And, you know, we were taught in the Church of Christ to sing with a melody from our heart.
Right.
And after I had my first baby, I've had 3 now, back to back, I started journaling, because when you become a mother, it's almost as if you're being reborn. And you're trying to like find that balance of, okay, but my kids are my whole life, but who am I, you know? Right. And so I started just journaling, just daily, like in my journal. And one day, I don't know where it came from, but I started writing songs, and then I would have a melody in my head. And so from there, I ended up my husband's in construction. And so I set up like a home studio. I had no clue what I was doing. So I was just like, I want to make these songs. I want to bring them to life and just store them in my closet if I have to. I just know they need to come to life.
Right.
And so we set up I set up a home studio in his construction office. Started there.
That's awesome.
And then ended up coming to Nashville. Met some strangers who became great friends and co-writers in Panera Bread. And from there, it's all kind of been history.
The rest is country music history.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting your name.
Yeah.
Bequeathed by Dolly.
Yeah. I remember the day Dolly named me, I walked back out to my car, and I didn't answer anybody's calls. I didn't text. I didn't do anything. I just got in my car. And I drove in silence for 30 solid minutes, because I'm like, what just happened?
Right.
You know, like, it was so cool. But she's so down to earth, and she's such a force in nature. And like, I just admire her so much. So it's an honor that, like, you know, she named me.
It's a huge compliment. I know there's going to be a lot more music coming out this summer and going into fall with all the songwriting and everything else you're doing. I know there's going to be some tours and other things mentioned. I want to make sure for our viewers, with your website, with social media, with everything you've got going, and also to keep up on your singles as they're rolling out, where do they need to go?
Yeah, so, I mean, the singles, my songs, they're on every streaming platform there is. So Apple, Spotify, Pandora, I mean, Amazon, whatever your thing is. And then also you can go to my website. It's starjacksonofficial.com. My Instagram and my TikTok, I'm Star Jackson. Yeah, y'all go.
And you may even have like your little Martin Jr. on there too while you're like writing songs, right?
Yes, maybe, but I will say I'm not the best guitar player, but I can strum a chord or 3.
And you know how to write a song.
Yes, I love to write a song.
Well, I'll tell you what, be sure and check out her new single, You Do You. There's going to be more songs coming out this summer, as she mentioned, and even more this fall. And be sure and follow Star Jackson online through all social media. Also add her on your Spotify list to check out these songs and listen to them. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more. Star, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Check out the music.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.